Hello, hopefully y'all can hear me. I'm Regina, and this is my channel, The Spirit Within. And today I want to talk about, I just want our people and just people in general who may be still using this practice to consider discontinuing physically disciplining your children. I think, you know, it's just learned behavior. A lot of times, we want the object is to change the child's behavior, but in doing so, we kind of put some aggression into it when it becomes a physical discipline. So if your child does something and you just want to go give them a little pop or a little swag, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I just heard someone say, this baby was 2 years old and the grandmother was spanking the child for doing whatever the child was doing. And I just think that just needs to stop. Like, it's a baby, it's an infant. Like, we all have to grow at some point. And I know back when I was younger, having my children and whatnot, yeah, physical discipline, that was normal. Give them a pop, not necessarily at 2, but you pop them, this and that. But now, you have to sometimes this, because it was taught to you and it was information given to you as a child and you grew up doing it, doesn't mean that it's appropriate, doesn't mean that it's okay to do. And I think that our children and families would go a lot further and be a lot more emotionally intact if we just discontinue the physical discipline, especially when it comes to minor children, just really babies and whatnot. I think we just need to exercise a level of love and patience. Love and patience. Because if you just spend the time correcting and redirecting the child with love and patience, that child will eventually stop doing whatever practice it is as an infant, as a child. They will follow that lead eventually, but it's going to take some time. A lot of times it takes a little bit more time than you are as a person are willing to put in, or that you feel like you have time to put in. But you need to have time to put that time in with your children or with any child that you have any influence over, because it's important. It's important. And then you never know how those physical disciplinary practices are going to affect that person, because every child is different. Yeah, you might have been okay with physical discipline, but another child may not be, and they may be severely affected emotionally as an adult. And I'm seeing so many, especially boys growing up, emotionally lacking emotional stability, lacking it, and girls can too. So I just think that it may not be a good fit for everyone. I'm just asking people to just consider disciplining the children a different way other than hitting them, physically disciplining them. Like when my kids were growing up and they were, in high school and middle school, I didn't necessarily want to physically discipline them every time they do something. So I would, take away some of the food that they like to eat. Like you feed them. I'm not saying don't feed them. So I'm not saying don't feed them, but don't feed them pizza. Don't feed them the stuff that they want to eat. Give them, something different as a condition of their punishment, just to get them to remember that they did something wrong, because ultimately you want them to change the behavior. You're not trying to beat the child, or you're not trying to take out your anger on the child, and that's basically what that is, physical discipline. You're trying to get the child to change his or her behavior from one that is negative to another one that is positive. So in doing so, you just redirect them. If they're underage, then redirect them. Find other things. There's other alternative disciplinary practices online if you don't have any that you can think of yourself. But I would take away some food choices if they're older. Continue to redirect them as children to have love and patience, because they're babies and they're not expected to grow up and figure everything out at 2 years old, 3 years old. Let children be children. Don't force your children to be adults. Like, this whole man up thing with these boys, and like, Let them be children. They're children. Show them love and patience as children. They don't have to be men. They don't have to be young women. They're babies. They're children. So allow them the same grace and opportunity that you would have liked to have as you were growing up. When you 5, you didn't necessarily want to be no man. That was just somebody told you, or even a woman. We got to go back to the basics and have patience with these children, have patience with ourselves, and just have patience with our families, and keep practicing that. And find some alternative ways of disciplining your children. Writing sentences, reading books. Like, for instance, my grandson, I don't plan on hitting him at all. I mean, I don't even know, but I don't want to have to discipline him anyway. But even if I do, it's going to be with some books. Sit down over here and read this book, or I'm going to read it to you. If they can't read, give them an audio book and make them listen to it over and over again until they know something. Have them tell you something. Write some sentences, write some paragraphs about a story you gave them to read, something that is going to build them up emotionally. Whether you believe in God, have them read the Bible, do something positive, something that's going to encourage them, something that's going to build them up, something that can help them along their way while you're disciplining them. Because again, you're trying to change the behavior from something that you deem as negative to something that is positive. You're not trying to attack the child. So you have to have patience, love, respect for yourself and your children, heavy on the love, and just let's stop doing what other people have been telling us to do that just don't always seem to be working. It's not working. And if you take a look around all these children out here, it's a lot of dysfunction going on. So it ain't working. And then on top of that, we want to raise people, human beings that are loving and compassionate and that can handle themselves physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And physically hidden people can tear them down emotionally within inside. And you might not even know that this is affecting them like that until they get to be an adult. So let's just stop doing it. Let's just have some time, some patience, some love, and some alternative methods of discipline so we can make whole human beings on this earth that come more or better equipped to handle things of this life. Because it is what it is anyways. We don't need to tear the children down in the home before they even go out into the world. We want to build them up in the home. Make them strong in the home, strong physically, strong emotionally, strong spiritually. And we don't want to do things that's going to affect that in a negative way by physically hitting them or verbally talking crazy to them or talking down to them. Let's change that. Let's change that. I think we can all do better. And even if you just start with just a little bit, just something. Okay, well, today we ain't gonna rant and rave. We're not gonna do any physical discipline. We're just you're gonna read some books today. That's gonna be your punishment. Or okay, well, today you ain't gonna eat pizza and this and that. You gonna eat something else. I mean, there's different ways of disciplining your children. You're gonna run a little bit. Now, I'm not talking about having them like they in the military, but make them run a couple laps. Go for a walk. Do something that they don't like doing or they wouldn't do, but it's not going to tear them down physically, spiritually, or emotionally. It's going to, at the end of the day, they're going to know that they need to change that behavior. And if they don't want to continue to do these such things over and over again on a regular basis, then they're going to have to change something. Give them an opportunity to think for themselves. They can do that. Babies can do that too. So that's it. Toodles.